Chair, we're live now.
So we can start, Misha, yeah?
Yep, that's right.
Right, okay. Yeah. Welcome to today's hearing. My name is Councillor H.O. Dear, and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Jammu and Councillor Kumar, and I comprise today's subcommittee. Hatoon Zeb is the legal advisor to the subcommittee, and also present is Misha Jalil, who is the clerk to the subcommittee. So I will ask the attendees to introduce yourselves, please.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Bob Dear. I'm a Licensing, Compliance and Enforcement Officer with Ealing Council.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm Mr. Panchal representing Daljit Singh Lamba, the applicant, sorry, not the applicant, the license holder, premises license holder.
Right, Mr. Panchal. Yeah, good to see you here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Who else is right? Okay. Is Mr. Any other person from the premises?
Ma'am, the license holder, Mr. Daljit Lamba, is here with me. So if
Right.
there's anything, I will be presenting him, and I will be speaking on behalf of
No,
him.
I understand that. Yeah,
I've
thank
been
you.
authorized to do that.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I will explain the procedure now. I will invite the licensing authority to present the application for a review hearing. Then I will call any witnesses if they are there. Then I'll invite the premises to make their representation, and we will ask answer questions, and answers will be given. Then I'll invite the parties to briefly sum up their respective cases. At the end of the hearing, subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee clerk, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting and confirmed in writing within 5 working days. So I will ask now, I will invite applicant licensing authority to present the application for a review.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is an application to review an off-licence called Telford Supermarket 2 to 3 Winfield Parade, UB1 3JW. On the 21st of October this year, we submitted an application for a review of that licensed premises following 2 visits by licensing and trading standards officers. These premises have been licensed since 2014, and the licence holder and designated premises supervisor is Daljit Singh Lamba. A blue poster was put up at the window, and the paper advert was placed in the Ealing Gazette within the time limits. The first of the visits that were made to the premises on the 20th of February of this year. Complaints have been received, an intelligence report that these premises were selling smuggled goods. I entered the shop at 10:50, and there was one male shop assistant there who gave his name as Parmeet Singh Lamba, who is in fact the brother of the licence holder. I identified myself, producing my identification, explained the purpose of the visit, and while checking the cigarette gantry, I found 4 50-gram pouches of roll your own tobacco that were not in the required plain packaging. The shop worker stated that it was the new plain packaging.
Excuse me, Chair, sorry, Bob.
Yes.
Sorry, ma'am. Is the license officer presenting the case, or are we having the applicant to present the case?
No, no. The applicant. I have invited applicant licensing authority
So I'm a bit confused. Are we having the licensing authority presenting the case, or are we having the applicant presenting the case?
Applicant is presenting the case.
So there is no licensing officer at the moment.
No. Thank you. I think that's
Um,
what I said in my introduction. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, carry on, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Dean.
The above property was signed over for destruction and a first and final warning given. Whilst continuing my inspection, I found a large selection of keys. And in a small cardboard box that was on the counter, hidden under paperwork, I found a Ford car key. The shop work stated that it was a spare and they had no van. However, the key opened the Ford Transit, the van that was parked outside the shop. And inside I found a black plastic bag containing 52 packets of non-duty paid cigarettes, 10 50-gram pouches of roll your own tobacco, and 8 50-gram pouches of shisha. And also there was 270 grams of Indian tobacco. In the void above the driver's seat, in a plastic carrier bag, I found another 50 packets of non-duty paid cigarettes. I did take photographs and they are exhibited, and the photographs are in with the papers. I returned to the shop, and upon further examination with the tobacco gantry, I found 5 times 20 packets of counterfeit silk cut cigarettes. The above property was again signed over for destruction, a first and final warning given. Returned on Tuesday, the 8th of September at 7:40 p.m. With Brian Gahori, a trade and standards officer. After introducing myself, we explained the purpose of our visit to Mr. Parmeet Singh Lamba again. He was stood behind the counter talking to another Asian male who had his back to us, facing the counter. In a bag behind the counter, we found 22 packets of non-duty paid cigarettes, 54-gram pouches of Indian tobacco, and 7 times 50 packets of an unknown substance in plastic bags labelled smelly proof. The shop was very busy, so we waited for the customers inside to conclude their shopping prior to closing for officer safety reasons. However, all the customers left without purchasing anything. Outside the shop, a crowd of 8 persons had gathered. Amongst these were 3 drunk males who were sitting on a wall close by the off licence. The people were informed that the shop will be closed for approximately 20 minutes, and they dispersed. The shop assistant was continuously on his mobile and was asked to conclude his call so that we could finish and leave. The shop assistant was continuously on his mobile again and was asked to conclude. A further inspection of the racks under the groceries revealed 57 packets of Indian tobacco weighing 775 grams. Those items were signed over for destruction and forfeited. Outside, another crowd of males had gathered, and we believe that the shop assistant was actually telephoning people in an attempt to intimidate us. So the door was locked to prevent anyone else entering. We then searched behind the metal shelving racks that contained the packets of spices, and hidden behind, we found 25 50-gram pouches of roll your own tobacco and a further 17 packets of non-duty paid cigarettes. These were signed over for destruction as well. Photographs were taken and are exhibited. After about 5 minutes, a right male came up behind us and started to make threats to us. I'd seen this male outside the shop previously, and it became apparent that the shop assistant had actually unlocked the door and admitted him without our knowledge. Due to his behaviour, the integrity and security of the evidence, the police were called, which is the first case in over 4 years I've had to call the police to assist us on a search because of the behaviour of a licensee. Whilst awaiting the attendance of the police, the male opened the door and began talking to the other males again outside. Whilst he was doing this, I managed to get him out of the shop and lock the door. The police arrived, and as I went outside to point out the ringleader, he ran off and has never been caught. So in total, over the 2 visits, 146 packets of cigarettes, that's 2,920, 39 pouches of 50-gram pouches of roll your own tobacco, 1.95 kilograms, and 8 times 50 shisha packets, 400 grams, and 1.25 kilograms of Indian tobacco were seized. The unpaid duty on those products amounts to over £1,675. And obviously, we're saying that the licence holder and designated premise supervisor is failing to promote the crime and disorder objective. And that is my evidence, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dear.
Thank you.
Any questions? Anybody wants to ask any questions?
Can I at this stage?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah,
Councillor Kuma.
Thank you. Mr. Dear, I just wanted to check on the 2 dates. The one was it you who went in February, or was it you with another officer who went on the 2nd visit together? It's just that who went?
Yeah, I was alone on the 1st visit in February, and in September I went with a trading standards officer, Brian Gahori, as part of our night visits.
Okay, and when you went on the night visit, was it and it was at 7:30 p.m.
7:40, yes, 7:40.
7:40, yes, okay. So were they you visited at 7:40 p.m. When you visited, were there how many staff were present in the premises?
There was only one.
One. So they're just the same person, Paramjit.
Indeed.
Yes.
Which is a breach of condition number 9 on the premises license.
Exactly. That's why I'm asking that, going by the breach. So was it a breach? Because during any hours after 1900, you must have a minimum of 2 staff on the premises. So that was a question I very much wanted to ask. So on both occasions, you only had the one person, which is Paramjit Lamba.
Yes.
And he's the brother of the DPS, the licensee.
Yes, he is. So that's what he told us anyway, Councillor.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Can I ask a question also, please?
Yes, please. Yes, Councillor Jammu.
Thank you, Chair. My question, Bob, is with regards to the key that you found behind the counter. Did you ask the shopkeeper if it belonged to a vehicle, or did you just assume it belonged to a vehicle that they owned?
I did ask him. Obviously, it's a place that, instead of keeping stock in the shop now, they obviously hide it in cars outside and things. And there was many keys on the counter. And when I asked him if it was a vehicle outside, he denied they had a van or anything outside.
So how did you establish the key to the van?
I basically, it was the shape of the key was obviously a Ford key. When I looked outside, I saw the white van. Perhaps put 2 and 2 together and it opened the magic box. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Chair.
I hadn't finished, Chair, so I've got one more question for Mr. Dear.
Yes, Councillor Kuma. Yes.
I just wanted to know on the CCTV, and I'm going by way of what you've said in your statement, and obviously the harassment got from a group of people. Was the CCTV ever was this captured in the CCTV, or was that ever looked at?
It was never looked at, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else want to ask a question?
Yes, Chair. Yes, ma'am. I have a few questions when I'm permitted by you.
It's Mr. Panchal, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am, my first question to Mr. Bob Dear is on your visit on 20th February, you state that you found the keys and you went up to the van and the goods, you mentioned all the goods that you're stating on your statement were all in the van. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, that's correct. Apart from the 4 packets that were found on the gantry and the 5 packets of cigarettes that were found in the gantry after.
Yeah. So there were, or you did find something in the shop, do you say?
Yeah, there was 5 packets of counterfeit silk cut and 4 packets of Condor grow your own tobacco that Mr. Lambert stated was the new plain packaging.
I can see the Condor men in the bundle. I think the bundle page 26 of the bundle. Is that the one that you're talking about?
Yes, indeed. Yes, Mr. Fincher.
Yeah. Now the packets of Condor, are they original and are they valid to be sold in this country, or are they counterfeit?
They are. They're not counterfeit. They're
Okay.
obviously they're smuggled goods, basically.
How can they be smuggled goods when they're not counterfeit? They are written Condor on it. Just your explanation. Is there any evidence you've shown that they are smuggled goods?
They're not actually plain packaging. That is not what plain packaging is.
I've been advised by my client here, sitting here, that these Condor packets are still sold in the shop and they are original, bought from the cash and carry. So have you made any investigation in finding out?
No, I haven't. I haven't followed up at all. No.
Because, okay, so you haven't made any investigation. Further to your investigation on that particular day, on Thursday, 20th February, did you realize that your visit, did you inquire about who the license holder was?
I knew who the license holder was because the license.
Did you anytime had a meeting with the license holder, or did you get in touch with the license holder?
No.
You haven't.
No.
Okay. So the registered when, did you check whose name the van was registered on?
No.
No. So you have no idea who the van belonged to?
No.
No. Okay. Now coming back to your visit on Tuesday, the 8th of September. Again, you found these products in the condition. You reckon that there was a shop assistant. If you look at that, the shop assistant was continuously on his mobile.
Yes.
Was asked to conclude his mobile. So there was only one shop assistant there, I gather.
That's correct. Yes. The other male, when we walked in, there was one other male who was facing him, talking to him, who was actually another licensee who stated he had a premise in Reading. And when we started our inspection, he left immediately.
Oh, so
he wasn't working there.
Oh, he wasn't working there.
No, he wasn't working there.
This is one of the questions that and after their visit on the 8th of September, did you again not get in touch with the license holder?
No, I didn't. No, I served the papers for a review. Mr. Lambert's never got in touch with me, if that's what you...
No, I'm not talking about Mr. Lambert getting in touch with you, but I'm just asking, did you ever send him to call him either for an interview or to say why this has happened or what's happening, or any sort of assistance from the license holder was not carried out?
So did you say give him any assistance?
Assistance in the sense that you ring the license holder, because he wasn't present on both the events. On the 20th February, he wasn't there. On the 8th of September, he wasn't there. So I'm just asking, did you manage to get in touch with the license holder that you visited the premises, or did you call him up for any interview or anything?
No.
Did you write to the license holder?
No.
You have not written to the license holder. So thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I will invite the premises to make your representation.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, we are here today in a review of the premises, and I can assure you, ma'am, that this shop has been there since 2014. I have no dispute of whatever happened on the occasions. What I'm worried about is on Thursday, 20th February, the matter has been closed. The reason I'm saying the matter had been closed was there was a warning given to my client, and that warning was completed, and that matter was closed. Agreed. So the stuff was mostly, you heard from the police just now that no contact was made with the license holder during that period. The matter was closed. Come back to September the 9th. If the license holder was got in touch, we could have got a better picture of what actually transpired. And I'm going to give you the better picture now. My client's mother was, he's been in the shop for last 6 years as a license holder. During that period, his mother was not very well, had a bypass operation carried out. So his attendance at the shop was very minimal, although he was a DPS. We can say that during that period, Mr. Lamba, Mr. Parmijit Lamba, Parmit Singh Lamba, who was there, carried out his own business in a business. In other words, he bought these products, selling it and making the profit by himself. My client didn't have an idea what was going on, although in the first instance, his view in the first instance was, when the products were brought in by Parmit Singh Lamba, my client refused and said, look, we're not going to sell this, leave it in the van, and I'm going to look at it and see if they're legal. If they're legal, then we'll bring it back in the counter. And some of the products he had brought it in the shop, and that is why they were there in the shop. So that matter got over. There was no visit carried out afterwards after February. Till say February, March, April, May, June, July, there was no visits carried out. We can understand because there was COVID-19 and we were all busy with the COVID-19 and we were all locked up and not going in and around. Come September, my client had this problem with his mom, was busy in the hospital, did not carry out a lot of visits at the premises, which he raised his hands up to say, yes, I'm a DPS and I should have been at the shop more time. But having gone through what he was in the family problem, he wasn't at the shop. Anyway, so he wasn't at the shop, and this business in a business was carried out at the shop by Mr. Parmit Singh Lamba. And my client understands that should have not happened. It did happen. So he is very apologetic for what has happened. And in October, after this visit in October, November, December, there is no DP visits carried out. At the present moment, the mum is getting better. The shop is still being run by the staff, but he has taken a lot of action on Parmit Singh Lamba. He's taken action on the other staff and made sure that trainings are carried out with the staff and everything. And we propose, we are raising our hands. We are not saying that we are clean, and we're not saying that Mr. Lamba, the license holder, is to say, well, look, I haven't done it, or this is what it is. Yes, we raise our hands up. He's raising his hands up and say, yes, there is a mistake being happened. Yes, there are reasons to it. But I'm not here. He's not here today in front of you to say, well, this shouldn't have happened and this has happened and you should let me in and out and whatever. So we're proposing today to you that there will be an immediate change of DPS because he's not very clean and he's not at the moment giving a lot of attention to the shop due to his mother's illness, which is going on. We can provide the proof if you want for that. But that isn't something that you might be looking at. But what we're looking at, how can we go forward with it? We can go forward. It's not that we can't go forward with the business. And the way to go forward from our point of view is to change the DPS with immediate effect. So we will have a change of DPS. That's one thing. We will have an ongoing training carried out at the premises. We are suggesting that the premises be suspended for the period when the change of DPS is to happen, a change is to be happen at the premises in the sense of trainings and everything. And that is the way forward for these premises at the moment, ma'am. We understand 11.28 of the guidance, that even at the first instance, if the matter is there, the license be revoked. But at this very moment, we are going through the COVID-19, and we're going all the matters, unemployment being in a high rate, we are going to be creating more unemployment. So let's look at on the positive side of it. And to look at the positive side of it, we are feeling, ma'am, we are suggesting today to the committee, we have a very good learned committee sitting down today. I'm happy to be in front of them. And ma'am, we feel that this learned committee to look into it and say, let's go forward with it. You have an option of suspending the license. You have an option of suspending the license for 3 months. You have an option, and we are giving you an option to change that. We will immediately have a change of DPS. We will be working along with the responsible authority. And ma'am, that's what we feel that should happen. But if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I have a full permission from the license holder to answer any questions that arises from this application. But we're not here today in front of you to say, oh, we should be doing and we should leave us alone on that. But we are looking for how we can go forward with this. And I think there are ways and means that we can go forward, and we can move ahead with it. Yeah, that's what we feel. So we are raising our hands up. We're not saying that no, things haven't gone wrong, but things have gone wrong because there are too many reasons behind it. So that's what we are looking at, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Panchal. Thank you. I have, I think, a couple of questions for your client, Mr. Panchal, Mr. Diljit Singh.
Yeah.
When Mr. Bob Deere visited the premises in February, and in his statement, it's a written statement, said that the shop, the premises, they were wound, and the illicit tobacco was taken away. Did Mr. Diljit Singh then took any action or talked to his brother? I'm sorry to hear about his ill mother.
Yeah.
But did he know what was going on in his premises? What his brother was doing?
Ma'am, that's exactly what I said in my submission, that immediately the brother was summoned up, and the brother was saying that this should not happen in the shop, and none of the products should be bought without my permission, and nothing should happen.
But it happened in September again.
Yeah, because the brother took the action again in September, like I said earlier, because Mr. Praveen Singh Lamba was busy with his family matters and was not paying attention at the shop what was happening, and hence Mr. Praveen Singh Lamba took the action again. So we're looking at replacing Mr. Praveen Singh Lamba, which Mr. Lamba is already doing now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I think I seen, is it a Councillor Jammu?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think you raised your hand here.
Yes, thank you, Chair, for allowing me to speak. Mr. Panchal, is your client, Daljit Singh Lamba, is he actually with you?
He's here with me, yes. That's Daljit Singh Lamba.
Right, thank you. I've got a couple of questions for him, and I'd like him to answer these rather than yourself, please, Mr. Panchal, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Okay. My first question is with regards to the WAN key. When Mr. Deere asked him about the key for the WAN, he did not claim that the WAN was his or the key was his. I want that answer before I ask my second question, please.
Ma'am, I can answer that very quickly because he wasn't present at the shop.
Can
My
I ask
client
Mr.
wasn't
Lem?
present at the shop. Ma'am,
Mr.
you're asking a
Panchal,
question.
Mr. Panchal, the panel are asking the question directly of your client for him to answer in case you didn't hear that.
He wasn't at the shop.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Lember. Thank you for taking this question. My question to you is what I've already asked: is the key that was in the shop at the time? Mr. Deere was told that doesn't belong to you, and the when, you don't know where the when is. What's the situation here? I mean, why did you say that to him?
I wasn't present on the shop. I wasn't there. My staff was on the premises.
So who was there at the time?
On that time, my staff was there.
Can I have a name from you?
Yeah, Parmeet Singh Lamba.
Okay, thank you. My second question to you, Mr. Lember, is Mr. Panchal has said that you buy your goods from the cash and carry. Which cash and carry do you buy your goods, in particular these condos that have been brought to our attention?
We use the cash and we use the cash and carry 4 or 5 cash and carries we're using, which is Best Way, Demecha, Booker.
No, but where did you purchase the condo?
This condo, I bought it from the Demecha cash and carry long time ago because it's the pipe tobacco, and they're using people for the pipe. It's not using just as a rolling cigarette tobacco. It's a pipe tobacco, and I bought it long time ago. Once a while, some of the customer they comes and they just ask for it, and that's it. I long time ago I bought it, but if you still we can get on the same green package. It's not black package. Still the same things we can get it from the cash and carry.
Well, Mr. Panchal said that you have your receipts for the tobacco.
Yes, I should have the receipt. Yeah.
So if we need to see the receipts, would you be able to present them to us?
Yes, I have to check my
For this
files
particular
today.
tobacco? You would. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor. Anyone else?
Yes, yes, Councillor here.
Yes, Councillor Kuma.
Okay, I think since we have the licensee in front of us, I can direct this question to him. You are the DPS of the off license, but are you the DPS for the next door as well? Because can you clarify the situation with the next door? Because I understand from what's been submitted that it is kept locked and storage.
I think it's better if you talk to my.
Yeah, I need to know. I need to know a little bit more about the next door premises. What exactly is the function of that particular premises in relation to the existing one?
Ma'am,
What is the connection?
yes, ma'am, I can answer that question. The next door premises license holder is Charanjit Singh, and the DPS is also Charanjit Singh. My client isn't the DPS or the license holder of those premises.
Yeah, but I did ask the license holder to answer this question, so he could have
Yeah.
he could have answered that. I mean, I didn't put it to you, I put it to him.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Panchal, ask Mr. Daljit Singh to answer this direct question.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am, Mr. Daljit Singh is answering it.
okay. So if he can answer it, and because on the premises, the location and history of it clearly says in our papers that there is another off license next door owned by the same person that is always locked and stores spirits for Telford supermarket. So what you've just said is very confusing.
I'm not the DPS of the next shop, and DPS is Charanjit Singh Lamba of the premises.
Who is he? Who is Charanjit Singh Lamba?
He is one of the person who.
No, is he related to you?
Yes, he is related to me. Yeah.
So
Is
I
it? Sorry.
just clarify exactly what the connection is with next door, because it clearly says, I'm only going by what I see in front on my papers, and it clearly says that it is, you are the owner of that. So obviously,
Yes, I'm the owner of the shop. Yeah, I am, but I'm not operating that shop.
yeah, but it says it's always locked up.
Yes.
So spirits for you, Telford Supermarket. So I mean, I need an explanation on that clearly based on what I'm reading.
We only for the supermarket we only stock up about our soft drink and other things in there, but is the other things is paid for that premises by belongs to Charanjit Singh.
No.
But it clearly says you store spirits for Telford Supermarket.
Yes, I do.
Telford no, but this next door that belongs to you, that you own, stores spirits for you. So you're saying that the spirits, or you only
We also do the spirit. We for the Telford Supermarket we stock the spirits and the soft drinks as well, because as a storage we using them as well.
Okay, and the shop is the next door shop that belongs to you is kept locked always. Is that so?
Yes.
So you have an internal access.
Sorry.
Do you have an internal access to that shop?
Yes, I do.
You do. So okay, so it is part of your shop.
No, it's not part of my shop, but I can store my goods there.
Yeah, and the Ranjit Lamba is he's obviously, is he related to you? Is he a family or?
Not a family, just like a friend.
Oh, okay, because I'm just going by the surname. It's the same.
Charanjit Singh. He's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, surname is.
Okay.
His surname is Singh.
Then his
Okay.
surname is Singh, not Chalamba.
Okay. All right. And Permeet Lamba is your brother.
He's my nephew. He's my nephew.
In on the premises.
He's my nephew. Yeah, he's my nephew.
Each time that our officers have made a visit. Is that correct?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your brother, Jeet Lamba, has been the only one present
Yes.
On the premises when our officers visited in February and again in September. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that's correct.
So between that, it's like almost 8 months. I COVID is an issue that's mentioned on most occasions, but it has remained open throughout. Yes. So were you out of action for your personal reasons during the entire 8 months, and you had nothing to do with the shop and the purchase, and did not realize the amount of counterfeit products that the shop had stored?
Ma'am, like Mr. Panchal, sorry to stop you. Like Mr. Panchal said, because my mom, she had a open bypass surgery and in Feb, and she was in very bad situation. I got a photograph of that. If you want, I can show it to you. And
no, that's absolutely fine.
And you can see the photo of this. She was in very critical thing in situation, and in the COVID-19, everyone was scared, and nobody was coming out to do these things. And the thing is, in our culture, we see more our parents. We give them more priority than business to our parents. So can you believe that I wasn't even. My mind is somewhere else, and my wife, she was telling me as well, so don't go out. You want to lose your mom, you need the money, or you need your mom or kids. The situation was very bad, and on that time everyone was scared, and everyone was like trying to save their family, their things. On that time Parmeet said, don't worry uncle, I will look after the shop. So Since January, last year, January, I didn't even sit one, you can't even believe that 1 month, in 1.5 months, I went Ealing Hospital, Emil Smith Hospital, 7 o'clock in the morning, was going till 9 o'clock in the evening, was there, me and my wife. We didn't even look after our child on that time as well. And on that time, what was happening? She was telling us, let me die, take me home. So what shall we do on that time?
Yeah, no,
Do I
thank you.
look at the business or do I look at my mom?
Yeah, no, well,
Because
thank
she's more important for me than business, you know. So
Well-
sorry, you can.
yeah, well, yeah, that's fine. Thank you for elaborating on that and giving us your circumstances surrounding this. But what I wanted to know as well was during the absence, and now we're looking at certainly I mean, I'm going to look at from February to September when the second visit was made. Was Paramjeet authorized to do all the purchases? Was everything being purchased by him? And you know, was he given that authority? And what was his position in the shop? Because you know, I'm absolutely astonished that, you know, this must have continued for a very long time. And I find it hard to accept that this hadn't been picked up based on the amount of goods that were confiscated.
I didn't have no choice on that time to give. I had to give him authority to buy, purchase, and everything. But I didn't give him authority. But what he did, he did wrong. I can understand that. But in these things, if you give me a chance, because I'm okay now, I can just do everything. Because from last so many years, I was running a business and it was no problem at all, and didn't have no problem. So if you can give me a chance this time, I'm okay to just do these things, you know.
Because you have, you are now in the process, from what Mr. Panchal has said, of training. I mean, no other staff has been mentioned, so there's only one. So there is a breach there in any case. But you're now going to change the DPS and take matters into your own hand. But, you know, I mean, you must have been going through, there must be some sort of accounting when purchases are being made. And I mean, surely that would have been a question you would have asked the person that you've given the authority to, not just a complete free hand. I just want a little bit more explanation on that. How could all that be missed, despite, you know, from what I've heard? But was there no accountability because you were the DPS and the responsibility lied with you?
Ma'am, we've gone through with him. We've made him understand that it is a big responsibility that whenever you give anybody anything. So those trainings are now conducted. We are now training one of the staff that he's trying to bring in, and we're making sure that staff becomes a DPS and has more responsibility and more understanding of running the business that Mr. Lamba ignored during this period that matter has gone worst. The shop is there for the last 6-7 years. And hence, this is the time that had happened when Mr. Lamba wasn't paying attention. And we made it absolutely clear to Mr. Lamba that there is a period where you'll have to stop selling alcohol, or we're asking the committee that during that suspension period, if you were to look at that suspension period rather than revocation, then we would be making sure that when we come back after the suspension period, that matters are absolutely in place, and then make sure that matters don't go out of hand as it has gone.
And Mr. Panchal, is Paramjeet Lamba still on the premises and still employed by Diljit? And will he remain an employee?
Mr. Paramjit Lamba will not be remaining at the premises once this matter is resolved. That's what we have advised Mr. Diljit Lamba, and hence we've advised that Mr. Paramjit is not a responsible staff that should be running the shop.
He's still there.
Is he still there?
From 1st of no.
He's not there, man.
He's not from first.
From first of?
From last week.
From last week, Mr. Paramjit Lamba has been relieved of his duties. That's
Okay.
what I've been advised.
Okay. Thanks, Chair.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Councillor Kumar. Councillor Jammu.
I've just got one last quick question to Mr. Lamba, please.
Yeah.
The premises we're talking about, the Telford supermarket, is number 2 and 3 Windford Parade.
That's
the
right.
shop next door that you claim you use for storage. So what number is that one then?
What number is the other show?
Number 1.
Number 1, ma'am.
Right, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank
No
you.
more questions for me.
No more questions. Mr. Dear? Yes. Who is speaking? Hello?
Chair. Oh,
Yes. Do you
Chair,
have a
Have the
question?
opportunity to ask any questions. Yeah.
Hattie, I
Sorry.
couldn't hear you. Sorry, Bob. Sorry. Hattie, I couldn't hear you.
Chair, it's Mr. Bob Deer's turn to ask questions. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you, Chair.
Dear? Yes,
Thank you very
carry
much.
on. Yeah, thank you.
Just a few points, really. You've obviously heard that the shop next door is owned by this Mr. Lamba, that he's not the DPS there. How much would he say alcohol is his business at number 2 to number 3? i.e. 10%, 15% more? I don't know if Mr. Panchal can hear us.
No, sorry. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, sorry, Bob.
No problems. Just
This,
asking how much of the shop is alcohol at number 2 to number 3?
30%.
30.
Yeah.
I won't disagree here, but there. And the other Mr. Lamba is the nephew, not the brother of this Mr. Lamba. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because when you gave your side, your client side, Mr. Pancho, you said that they went out to the van basically, and this Mr. Lamba, who sits before us today, was shown these bags of smuggled goods, and he chose the bits that he could sell in his shop. That's correct, isn't it? What you said earlier.
No, I never said that there's bags there that he could sell in the shop. What I said was very clearly that those stuff, when Mr. Laljit Lamba, the owner, said we cannot sell this till we have a look at it, whether they are genuine or not, and that is why they were lying in the van. So
yeah, but then you did say that he looked. You then said that he looked for the bag and sold what he picked what he wants out.
No, I never said that.
Okay. Obviously, I must have misheard that then. So in February, he gets the first and final warning that's accepted by the other Mr. Lamba. So he knew he had already received the first and final warning. Would he agree with that?
Yes, he agreed with that. He totally agreed, and he had a meeting with Mr. Lamba, his staff, and to make sure that it doesn't happen again, or make sure none of these goods are brought up in the shop. He made it absolutely clear.
I mean, I don't know when his mother had the bypass. I don't know what month it was, but obviously we're talking February there. And in September, I returned to the shop. Lo and behold, Mr. Lamba is there on his own again, and has purchased more stuff, I believe, then, is he? Because he's now hiding behind the spices, so we can't smell it.
That's why Mr. Laljit Lamba was very disappointed to see that happen again, and he was very, very disappointed what has gone wrong.
But that's the second occasion he's told. On that second occasion, we find him, more goods that are actually this time even concealed in better. They're not just put in a van, they're actually hidden behind spices, under the fruit and veg. And on the 21st of October, when I returned to serve the papers, Mr. Lamb was on his own again in the shop. Wouldn't that have been a good time to actually get rid of him in September?
There was no goods there, were there?
No.
Yeah, but what Mr. Daljit Lamba immediately when that September meeting was carried out, made sure that again, he made absolutely sure that Mr. Paramjit Lamba doesn't do it again. And he started taking action since then. And October, November, we came into the picture and we realized and we told Mr. Lamba that this is not what is right, this is wrong, and you should make more investigation into why this has happened. So he was absolutely very disappointed in what Mr. Paramjit Lamba did.
But he then waits another 8 weeks before he says, out you go.
Well, because his situation is now improved at home, and we said you should have taken the action immediately. So he's now started getting things back into his normal life.
He's now offered, well, the committee have heard that he's offered to remove himself as the DPS, and he'll accept a 3-month suspension. But as you asked me the question, and I'll ask your client the question. Come February, when he knows his licence is in jeopardy because he's had a first and final warning, did he contact us to say, I've got some problems, my mum's very sick, I'm going to remove myself as the DPS? Because I didn't receive any email or telephone call.
I agree what you're saying, Bob, and that's what we've discussed with him, that in future, that if that happens, this is what you need to do. Speak with the responsible authorities. They're there to help you, and we're putting him into the right position, because this has never happened before. You can understand the shop is there for the last 6 years. The shop isn't there for last year or somewhere, and matters haven't happened before February 2020. So the shop has been there since 2014, and I don't know how many visits you made from 2014 till February 2020. I have got no idea. You may have the records for it. You may have made a visit, whether those visits were fruitful or not fruitful. None of the time the license was brought up for review, or none of the time the license had a problem. So Mr. Lamba has a record of showing and proving to himself, Daljit Singh Lamba, that we have never carried out such a thing. The things have started happening since Paramjit's involvement into the business.
Okay. Just a couple of other quick points. He obviously received the papers, the review papers, on the 21st of October, the next day when Mr. Lamba gave them to him. And obviously, hopefully he's taken it seriously since then.
Yep.
Well, he's taken it seriously because he's got rid of his white van, because the other Mr. Lamba can't drive, can he? I think Mr. Lamba would probably say...
You can't drive, but
No.
No, I've just been told that he can't drive. Yeah.
He's only got a visual light, yeah.
I've just been told that he
showed me it for identification. The last point is the shop next door. I've been in Ealing since September 2016. It's never been open. Never been opened, but it's got a license there. It's always stocks. He's always had stock there. I just find it very strange, and you pay the rates on a shop, you pay your rent on a shop, but you use it's a storeroom, really.
I'd stop you there, and I'd be very disappointed that why we are discussing about that shop. The review is not for that shop. I think your legal department will be able to tell you that. We're discussing of a review of this shop here. We have already told you that Mr. Daljit Singh Lamba is not the license holder, neither is he a DPS. Whatever the arrangement Mr. Daljit Singh has got with that shop, and that shop is not matter for us to discuss here today, Chairman. So I disagree with, and in your legal department will also.
No problems. Well, I'm still
Mr. Pantel, we heard, and it is stated in the report, If that is the case, but Mr. Lamba stated earlier on that they are keeping their drinks in that shop. They are using that premises.
Yeah, ma'am, you could use anybody's shop next door. You could use anybody's shop, but we're not here to hear about that shop's review today. What we are, and my client has already said to Mr. Deer and the committee that yes, he does store his goods sometimes there at that shop. But whether that shop is open or not open, or what happens at that shop, that's not the review we are discussing here today for. If there was a review for that shop to be discussed, yes, I'm happy to answer questions regarding that shop. But we've clearly said to you that yes, we are utilizing, my client is utilizing goods to be kept at that shop. He might use somebody else to do, but he's clearly saying, yes, I am storing goods there. The license holder for that premises is Charanjit Singh. He's the DPS. Whether he keeps it closed or open, that's a matter for Charanjit Singh to discuss or come and tell you that. It's not for my client to come in.
Well, Mr. Pancho, my
Yeah.
question to your client is twofold. I think he gave in evidence earlier that he owns that shop.
Yeah.
But he has rented that shop to Charanjit Singh.
No, the question was, Mr. Pancho, he owns that shop.
He owns that
He
shop.
owns it.
Yeah, he owns that shop. He owns
So
the
that is
lease.
relevant.
He owns
That
the
is
lease of
relevant.
the shop.
Yes, but that is relevant because that is his shop. He might not have a license there, but he's got the keys to that premises and he stores, because I've actually checked that shop because I get the keys from his own number 2 to number 3. That's where I always kept the keys.
Maybe I'm happy to come down for a review for that shop if there was one and answer that questions during that period and not at this period. I'm sorry about that.
All right. So, but you agree in evidence, Mr. Lambert has stated that he owns that shop.
Ma'am, I'm repeatedly going to say that he owns the shop, but he doesn't own the license of that shop. Neither does he own the DPS of the shop. That shop belongs to Charanjit Singh as a license holder to run that premises.
But that's all we need to know, Mr. Pancho. He owns the shop. Lovely.
Yeah.
I've got no other questions. Thank you, Chair.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Pantel,
Yes, ma'am.
the shop we are talking, he's keeping his stock in the next door. Do they have access from one shop to another rather than the front door at the back?
Is there an sorry, ma'am, I'll take that instruction from the client. Is there an access to that shop to each other? Is access nahi hai na dukaan
नहीं अंदर से access नहीं है.
nahi hai. No, there is no access, ma'am.
No,
Right.
Chair,
Thank you.
Sorry,
Yes,
Chair,
Councillor Kumar.
I raised that question with him
You did.
quickly, and he said he has internal access. That's the word I used.
That's what yeah, thank you.
बाहर से जाना पड़ता है.
Yeah.
Internal access.
Sorry, ma'am, there is no internal access to that.
Please don't interrupt me when I'm saying, because I'm just trying to give an explanation to the response I was given to the same question. I was told by the licensee, by Ajit Singh, that he had access, internal access.
Yeah.
No, I think I made a mistake. It's misunderstanding. But
And he stores spirits and drinks over there. So it's free access. So really, I mean, it is a matter of a question, not on that particular shop or how it's trading, but on what's happening between the two premises. Surely that's pretty valid.
Yes, Councillor Kumar, thank you very much for coming back with this question. That's why I wanted to recheck, because I made a note that stating I heard the same thing from Mr. Lamba. He said clearly he has internal access to the other shop. Yeah.
Number 2 to 3.
I heard that as well, Chair, when he said it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
he can visit to the.
Ma'am, I just want to make it absolutely clarify. I've asked my client now. I've taken
Right.
then ask the client, and I would like to clarify that there is no internal access to both the shops. Both the shops are separate identity. They're number 1 and number 2 and 3, but there is no access. If there was an access, then automatically the license should have been.
Yes, number 2.
Yeah. Maybe there is, I've again asked the client here, maybe his presentation might have maybe misunderstood, or he must have spoken differently, but there is no access between the two, the shop 2 and 3 and 1. There is no internal access.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, Chair, sorry, Bob there again. Is it possible to have one further question? Sorry.
Yes, carry on. Please do.
To Mr. Lambert, was he the designated premises supervisor at number 1 Winford Parade in 2010?
Yes, he was.
Is that when it was reviewed?
Was there a review on that premises? Sorry, ma'am, I need to ask him.
उस टाइम पे था, लेकिन वो मेरी उस पे नहीं था। मैं एक दूसरी शॉप थी जो ग्रीनफोर्ड में थी ना, उसकी रिव्यू उधर
ये 1 की नहीं थी,
इसकी रिव्यू थी, लेकिन उसमें कुछ नहीं था। On that time they didn't find anything for me, anything, क्योंकि मैं उस शॉप में पार्टनर था ग्रीनफोर्ड में, तो उसकी वजह से इसका जो था ना रिव्यू था, क्योंकि मेरे नाम पे था दोनों लाइसेंस, उसकी वजह से था, तो उसकी उसी वजह से, लेकिन उसको उन्होंने डिसमिस कर दिया था, कुछ नहीं था।
I haven't got much documents on it, but what I hear from him to say is there was nothing transpired on that review. I don't know.
Well,
Chair, unless you got better report on.
No,
it.
I mean, was he the owner of that shop in 2010?
Yes, he was. I've just answered that.
No, so he was the owner. He wasn't the premises license holder.
Yeah.
But he was the designated premises supervisor there. There was a review, and I don't know because I haven't got the result of it, but in 2010 it was transferred a few months later to the current owner and transferred.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct, but that review, nothing was transpired. That's what he's saying to me.
Lovely. Okay. I have other questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any more questions, colleagues?
No, thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you. Thank you. So we heard from Mr. Panchal and Mr. Lamba and the applicant, Mr. Bob Deere. We have questioned them. So I will invite the premises to sum up their application, please.
Are you summing up the applicant, Mr. Deere, or Mr. Us first?
Premises first of all.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, first of all, thank you very much for listening to us, ma'am. Thank you very much. We are not disputing, or I should be saying, yes, it is a criminal offense under 11.28 of what you've seen transpired at the shop. What we are saying, there are reasons which we have explained. There are reasons that our client has explained why matters have gone worst. There is a way forward, as I've said in my earlier presentation, and we feel that matter should be taken into consideration of how we can go forward with these premises. And the way we can go forward, we are saying to the committee to go back and think, to say there is a suspension that we are looking, or I'm looking for a reason for a suspension for these premises to go forward. There will be a change of DPS. That is what we feel could be a better way of making these premises run in a better manner. The new DPS will be fully trained. There will be a trainings given to all the staff that are at the premises. And if there was another review with the same matter, we would feel that revocation would be the better idea. In this instance, that is what we feel. Ma'am, the other thing that I'm very disappointed today here at this hearing is, and I'm sure that we have got a very learned committee sitting down today, that we're discussing about a premises, number one, which has no internal access. I can guarantee and tell you that there is no internal access. That why we were discussing about that. That matter should not be considered when you're making your decision on this matter, which is not relevant to you. So, ma'am, we're feeling that suspension is the way forward, where Mr. Lamba can carry on with his business and look forward and make sure no further breaches are carried out at the premises. So, ma'am, that's what our submission is today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Panchal. Now I will invite the applicant, Mr. Bob Deere, to sum up.
Thank you, Chair. We've heard both sides today, and of course it does say that you can, you've got 6 options here, what to do with the license, and I stick by my initial thought that it should be the ultimate sanction of verification, and for the following reasons. There's already been breached of the conditions on the license. Mr. Lamba, nephew, has been on his own in the shop. He was on again on the 21st of October when I served the review papers, on his own in the shop. A totally irresponsible worker who appreciates circumstances. We've heard from Mr. Lamba about his mother, and hopefully she's getting better now. However, you know, you don't trust the business to a man like nephew Lamba, who you already know has got smuggled goods. He's already bought them and he wants to sell them in your shop for a profit, because it's the only shop around there. And we've heard that, you know, suspension is the way forward. Well, I disagree with suspension in this case, because the alcohol in the shop at number 2 to number 3 Winford Parade is not 30%. We'd be lucky if it's 20%. It's a big shop. It sells groceries and such. It's the only shop around for quite a while. All will happen is that and the reason I mentioned his other business that he owns and has sublet it, is that he'd move his business next door and the suspension would be worthless. You know, the first time in the 4.5 years, or nearly 4.5 years I've been here in Ealing, I've had to call the police for I wouldn't say protection, but to protect the evidence and to stop, well, probably being seriously assaulted by customers that Mr. Lamba is calling for help. You know, it's in a state where there's already antisocial behaviour and things like that, which obviously I'm not going to go into. You've heard he was his shop he owns next door. He was a designated premises supervisor when the police put a review in for it. And I don't know, I haven't got any further facts of that matter, but it was transferred to the present guy. You know, I'm surprised Mr. Lamba, who sits in front of us today, was actually allowed to be DPS at this premises at 2 to 3, because whatever went on in 2010. But I say selling smuggled goods, counterfeit goods, smuggled goods is offence and a criminal offence under the Licensing Act 2003, section 122. I say now is the time to revoke this licence and move on. You know, because the shop next door isn't open, it's never open. So, you know, the people in that estate will have to go somewhere else for their drink, which you heard in my evidence. There's 3 drunks outside sitting there. There's only one shop they could get their drink in that area. So I ask for full verification. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deere. Now I will let all parties know that we will retire to deliberate together along with the legal advisor and the clerk, and we will make a decision, and we might take 10 to 15 minutes. We'll be back. Thank you.